Okay. Well, I just want to say welcome to everybody. My name is Andrea Revelli. I am the technology librarian at ACC. So basically, I do everything related to technology, and I kind of do help and support for online and distance students. So if after tonight you have any questions about research or issues that you want to talk about relating to research or anything, we can set up one of these WebEx sessions and do it one-on-one, or we can hop over email or chat, tons and tons of different ways. Hi, Cheryl. Hopefully you can hear me. We'll get started here. I'm going to kind of show you just generally tonight how to use our catalog for searching for books and articles and DVDs and everything. So kind of a one-stop searching place, but then also go in and use databases to do more specific searching. We're going to look at finding background information and then finding both popular and scholarly articles. If you have any questions this evening, you can either unmute yourself and just kind of, or you can chat in the chat box. I'm going to try to watch the chat box. So if you have any questions, feel free to chat with me there as well. All right, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'll see that. All right. And I've got all your names written down here, so I can send those on if you're getting, if you're getting extra points or anything for being here tonight. I'm not sure if you are or not, but don't worry about that. I'll send those on to your instructor. Okay, so the best way to get to all the content that the library has to offer is actually just right from arapahoe.edu, and up at the top of every page in the header here is a link to the library. This is the quick, easiest way that we're going to be able to access everything that library has. A lot of instructors might put small pieces of the library in their D2L shells, and that's just fine. And same thing with getting in through my ACC. That works. It's just not 100% all the content that we have. This is everything that we have, and this is what we update most frequently. Before I forget to mention this, we do have a 24-hour chat service. So if you want to get help at 2 o'clock in the morning, just get live chat help from a librarian around. We're in a group of other librarians in Colorado and Texas. So if you can chat now and ask your question, you're actually getting help from a real person. Just a kind of form or response thing or anything. This is actually a 24-hour chat service. That you can use anytime. Of course, remember right here, if you have any trouble with anything, email address, and then if you wanted to book one of those one appointments, you could do that right here through Book a Librarian. The real good stuff that we have is generally right here in the center. This box here is going to be the catalog search. So this is going to be where we search for articles, books, ebooks, DVDs, music CDs, anything that a library has to offer. We have iPads and Kindles and things like that that you can check out. You can search for anything like that right here. We generally use this for the things that you can check out. So that would mean books, DVDs, music, Kindles, things like that that actually are a physical item. You can get to the e-content here, but it works as well as where we're going to go for our next stops. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect system, so it does kind of have some glitches and things don't link in 100% all the time. It's generally very good, but just a little heads up that that's not necessarily the best way to find the articles for your research. I'm going to use a pretty general topic tonight. I'm going to kind of use the death penalty. I could type. And we're going to look at kind of how the death penalty in different places and the different types of information that you would get about the death penalty. I'm again using the death penalty back with this very general keyword search right up here. So you just type death penalty and hit enter. What I have is a long list of 40,000 different sources. Like much, the first few results here are print books. I can tell that right here by the icon, and it also says print book right next to it. As to being an ebook, also ebook, print book, and so on. One thing to be aware of in this system, what we're part of is a big group of libraries all around the world that have this system. And so what you need to make sure, if you wanted to check something out in print, is that libraries that own this item says AC Library and Learning Commons. If we don't own it and someone else does, I'm going to try to make this very specific. Let's see. I don't own any Braille books, so let's take a look. There is, it changes to WorldCat Libraries. So instead of it saying ACC Library and Learning Commons, it's going to say World Libraries. And so this is a book that we could get. It's just not one that we have right in our collection. We generally can borrow them. It just takes a little bit more time, generally a few weeks. So some time and you have something, an obscure book that we don't own, this is the way that you could go about getting the book. If you've noticed, though, what I just did over here on the side is I've used these filters, and it looks a lot like Amazon or any online shopping venue. It's a bunch of check boxes that you can use or options here for selecting specific ways to refine your search. Generally, what you would probably use are going to be in here in this format box. You might want to do print book or ebook. If you're not on campus and and it's going to be very difficult for you to get to campus, but you want to use books, you could always use this ebook button. It's going to change the content to only, the search results to only ebook format. And these things that you can download onto your computer or your Kindles or your iPads or whatever it is that you have, you can generally get these these books, onto your device. Check that and show you just a few things that come with using this system here. So if I click on the title, I have a few things on this page. So I get a little bit of book information, including title, when it was published, a little summary here. I get this cite option here. So if you're using, for example, and you wanted to cite this book in your paper, this is where you could get the full citation, not the one in text, but this is the one that's going to go at the end of your paper and the references section. And this is the one thing that you can actually copy and paste, and it doesn't count as plagiarism. It's just, this is the only way to do it. So this is the plagiarism to copy and paste citations. I will give you a big heads up and a big warning with these, that these generally are like 90% correct. Sometimes they're better than others. 90 to 100% correct. This one looks pretty good, but you always want to compare this to a style guide. If you don't have a print copy of the writer's reference or something like that, what you can do is you can go to Purdue OWL. This before in class, I'll show you a little bit in a few minutes about how to get to those. We have some tools that we recommend for your citing sources, but this is going to get you very close. Might not 100%, so you do want to proofread it, but it gets you really close. On here, this is going to tell us where the book is located in the library. It's in the library. It is available for checkout right now, and this is the call number or shelf location of the book. So you just write this number down and then go into the library. So place a hold on item. So if you just want to come into the library and someone have it right at the front desk for you, that's what that would mean. So one of the library staff would go downstairs and pick it out from for you and have it right up at the front desk. Okay. So generally how you would about searching for book items within our catalog. It's visual. It kind of feels like Google. You can use, I'm going to teach you a little bit about or and in just a few minutes, but you can do this with just keywords and it'll work just fine. So it's a pretty easy system to use and one that we recommend for doing your kind of ground research in. Does anybody have any questions at this point about searching for books or finding citations on this page or anything at all? Okay. So I'm going to go back to the library homepage. I'm just hovering over. There's a lot of ways to do it, but I'm going to hover over this button here and click on Library Home. And back to the page. Here are articles and databases and cite it. Is really, again, going to be important for your style guide and doing those citations, the in-text and your references page citations. So if you just click over here, we have all the different options. If you click on LA, these are tools that we recommend. The Hacker Guide has recently changed, so it's not necessarily as, we might remove that one. So one of these two at the top is generally the ones that we recommend. Either one, it doesn't really matter which one you want to use. You can just click on the title of the guide, which type of format that you want to be citing. So we were looking at books, and if you just click on books, it'll show you here the exact format for how they need to look in terms of capitalization, italics, and punctuation. Okay. So basically be aware that those are here. You can get to them from our site. If you forget which ones are helpful and which ones that we like to use, you can always just go to that Cite It button right here and get into those. The main thing that I want to show you tonight is going to be under this Articles and Databases button page is the type of information that you would find in the database. So what that means is these first two boxes here, in these databases, you're going to find art that are shorter, kind of overviews of topics, inside our dictionary types of information. So you're not going to find the articles that are generally longer and really advanced in nature, things that field of writing, definitely, but things that aren't necessarily as scientific, and they've kind of been toned down a little bit. Examples of that. So CQ Researcher is one that I like a lot. I think this is a really helpful for finding, again, that background information and then kind of looking at hot topics. So I'm off campus as well. I'm going to just type in my S number and hit submit. If you have issues with that, you can let us know. You'd all be in our system, so you didn't have any trouble. So how this works is a few ways. You could come up here and search for, in my case, my topic is right here, but you could search for it or click on the title of your topic that you're looking at here. And there's a lot more than these, I don't know, maybe 20 or so right here. There's a whole lot more in here, so if you don't see here, you don't have to worry. There's a ton of different articles in here. What I'm going to do is click on, these ones would work, but I'd like this one that's a little bit longer. Even though it's a few years older, I'm going to click right here on the title of death penalty debates. You could click on these as well, and you might want to look at more than one of them. I just don't want to show you all of them tonight. I'm going to just click on the top one. These is that they have all these different little subcategories within them, or sections within the topic of death penalty debate. Generally, this article is going to be answering the question of, is the capital punishment system working? You're going to get an overview of the topic. Yeah, this is a really nice if you need data for any of your papers, or you need one piece of data for a speech or for an article or a report you're writing, things like that. This will help. So lots of you can use. Citers. You get some background information, an overview and kind of history of the topic, and then you get a little bit of a current situation on it, the future outlook, and then this I really like here. These pro-con section here are going to really help you out if you're writing about something that needs to show base or the other. And even if you're writing about, say, pro the death penalty, you might want to know what the opposition thinks about it. So, or vice versa. These are very helpful for kind of understanding both sides of an issue. Is, of course, the timeline and a few other shorter articles that are written about it. So what they've done, CQ Press has done, is has really compiled a lot of different sources for you into one place that relate to a topic. I'm going to keep going down here. The other piece of this, of CQ Researcher, that I really like is their bibliography. So what they've done is also compiled suggested readings that are going to be on the topic of, in this case, the death penalty, that you can, if generally you can get to them. The books might be in print, so you might have a hard time finding those online. Only online we can generally track the books down. But the articles and things on the web, there's a lot of studies that you could actually access that are going to have, that are recommended related to the topic. So that's going to do a lot of your research for you. All you'd have to do is kind of sift through it and decide what you need for your paper. So highly, highly recommend this. Even if you think you know everything that there is to know about a topic, I highly recommend searching for it in here so that you can have an understanding of both sides of the issue and some keywords related to the topic. Right now, I'm already seeing that capital punishment is an alternative term for death penalty, and that's going to help me quite a bit in my searching that I'm going to get into here in just a few minutes. So, in time that you'd want to be a little bit aware of those various keywords or synonyms for your topic. So I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking on a research tonight, does the death penalty reduce crime? So ahead, I'm starting to think about death penalty, capital punishment, execution, things like that, and I'm kind of seeing those words here that are popping in my mind. So I'm going to go back a few pages here. So this is CQ Researcher. Kind of similarly, so you can go around with those later. I don't want to again cover too many here, but I do want to also cover Credo reference. This is another really system that gives you some books that have been digitized, which means encyclopedias, dictionaries, almanacs, basically that kind of information. So off of death. Oops. And I'm just going to hit search. We're still just doing keyword searches at this point, nothing too fancy. So this is another example of when I'm going to have to be aware of capital punishment might be actually the better term that I'm going to use in my searching here. So there are things within Credo. They have these things called topic pages that Credo, the company, has actually created that give a lot of the background information and images. What they do really nicely is and kind of these webs that I'll show here on how you can see how topics are interrelated. I got some of those further readings in this section as well. So either one, Credo or CQ Researcher, kind of depending on how you want to take your topic. If you're just purely looking for background and overview of the topic, you could use Credo. If you're looking for a little bit more of a prawn or future or a little bit more, I would probably stick to CQ Researcher. This is neat here, this mind map that Credo does. If you have a topic of Credo what you can do is you could actually scroll, zoom in here. All these different topics are interrelated. So if you were looking at penalty, you might want to consider minorities as perpetrators, or maybe juvenile crime relates to the death penalty, or things like that. So the constitutional law on the death penalty. This is just kind of gives you some ideas for how to focus your topic down a little bit more. And you click on any of these, and they'll move, and you'll get new news here. So this is kind of a good place to go if you're not exactly sure about what you want to do. So this one's Credo. The first one was CQ Researcher, and those are going to be those a little bit level references. And both of those have the citation features on them. I forgot to show you on both, but they're both on there. Anything that you get through the library is going to give you a section already created. So big benefit to using the library website instead of anything just straight from Google. There's absolutely some very useful things out there on that you can get to from Google, but this is just one big benefit of coming to the library website. We've done our background research and we're kind of starting to think about the death penalty and capital punishment being synonyms, and have some more ideas about where I want to go with my paper. I'm going to work on getting down here into my scholarly and popular articles. So click here on Academic Search Complete. That's the one that I'm going to go into first. What's up is the advanced search screen. And the reason we like to use this search screen is that it gives you these 3 different concept boxes. So far, all we've done this evening are keyword searches. But what we're going to do is kind of drill down a little bit more and look into how to create some more advanced searches that make sure we get the whole picture of research related to my topic. So what I mean by that is if I'm going to do death penalty here, hit search, just again, same keyword search, 5,000 articles, which is, that's just a lot of articles to go through when we're using a really general term, because this could be, okay, so this is film and the death penalty, this is race and the death penalty, looks like and the death penalty. So all over the place. We're not being very focused. What I want to do is also include the terms that I brought up, so execution and capital punishment, and connect those with or. So that you could use in quotation marks if you want. It's not necessary, but you could put those in. By putting them in quotation marks, it's going to search death penalty or capital punishment as a phrase, meaning capital and punishment have to be exactly in the order of capital punishment. By adding these 2 additional terms, I'm going to get more results, because I'm going to make sure that I'm including how all of those different authors have referred to the same idea. So each whole box here is considered a concept. At this point, we only have one concept in our search. So now we added 13,000 articles. At this point, what I want to do is focus it down a little bit. So I'm going to use the idea of reduces or reduction or eliminate or, let's see here. We'll start with those ones here. Now is going to happen, since I've connected these by and I have 2 concepts on here, I'm going to get fewer results. If you add, you're going to have fewer results. So now if I add crime or homicide, even fewer results. Each time I add a concept, I get fewer results, and each time I add or with a word or a synonym, I'm going to have more results. It's a little confusing. It's kind of opposite of what your brain wants to think. Or makes it so you're combining your synonyms and you put between concepts. Usually they put and in here for you, so all you have to remember is the or when you funnel. Now we're down to 89 results, which is pretty specific. I don't necessarily need to get under 100 or anything like that. If the first few or first pages of results looked good and I still had 18,000, it would mean that there are lots of articles out written on the topic. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have tons and tons of articles. It's just something to be aware of that you might want to focus a little bit down if you're having tons of articles. The thing I want to point out here is that we are now looking at different types of articles here. So this article right here that has this academic journal next to it has the peer review process. So here, this periodical that's going to be in something like Newsweek, even Geographic, things like that. Things that are written by as opposed to the academic journal that's going to be written by an expert in the field who through a process with the paper where they submit it to a journal, us within the field critique it and say that yes, it's valuable and the method information basically that they're presenting is relevant and very important to the field, and then that's when it would be published. So instead of anybody being able to write for Newsweek or Time or anything like that, these are very specific experts in the field that would publish within their literacy. So a journalist could work for Time Magazine, even if they're a contractor or whatever, but a journalist would work for Time Magazine and create art and write articles and things like that, as opposed to creating research as a researcher or as a faculty member or something like that, and then writing something for their field. So that's the difference there. If you're interested in one type or the other, you could click here on scholarly peer reviewed, and that's going to take out all of the periodicals and newspapers and things like that. Interested in having things like magazines over here as well. If you want things within a certain time range, what we can do is move here. So if we want maybe say in the last, 15 years, we lost something about 50 articles. Well, again, so see that things are still being published on this topic. We could limit down in other ways as well, but generally these ones down here get a little bit specific. I would probably maybe say just geography if that's something you wanted to do, but this isn't very accurate because Georgia is it within the United States, and so that might throw it off a little bit. So I would stay up here in source type and date and limit to boxes here that can kind of focus down on your search. To look interesting, what I would do is I would click on the top of the title here and be brought to what we call the articles record page. That any of these blue links are actually searches that you can do. So if I click on this capital punishment one, it's going to do a whole new search related to that subject. It's going to take away everything that I have, but it'll bring back a whole different pool of results. Sometimes these results are very, very specific with the search terms. And so those ones don't look like anything too special. Sometimes they get very, very specific, like capital punishment or capital punishment proponents or things like that, where it's actually very specific and exactly maybe what you're looking for. So I always like to take a little bit of a look right here at the subject terms. What I do on the page is take a look at the abstract or summary of the article. Before anything else, I just like to kind of skim here and see if that I want to read. What I do is I go over here and click on the PDF full text. Load here into my window. Okay. So one thing here is that these look much different. This is what you'd expect a magazine article to look like. This looks much different than one of those scholarly or peer-reviewed ones. So I'll show you one of those in a minute. But what we have here is some color, kind of some formatting. We have images, that look very something you might buy at the grocery store. This is basically what kind of the difference is. If this works for you, though, for what you're doing in your research, that's perfect. And what you can do is actually go back a page, and I will show you how to get your citation again. So click on the Cite button. On the list of all the possible citation formats, I'm going to scroll down to Format MLA and click here, and copy it into my paper. So generally, that's how I would go about using a regular magazine. Here in Uncheck Magazines, I'm going to show you what the other one looks like. Let's see, this one looked good. So you click on, if you right away already know that it's something that you want, you can click on PDF full text from this main results screen. The way this looks is substantially different than how the other one looked. We have pretty the look to it, black and white, no color and pictures, things like that. Immediately we have this abstract that talks about their objectives, methods, results, and conclusions. These are the big 4 pieces that are necessary in a peer-reviewed article for it to be considered peer-reviewed. Generally, that's the general rule there. And you can scroll through, you can see the only thing that's blue are these links. I mean, if it has a little bit of color, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's generally they're going to be black and white. Have some charts, law, mathematics that you absolutely wouldn't see in, in again, a magazine or something like that. This is going to talk very specifically about the things that they've done related to the topic. One thing that you could always use here is the references section of any article. This would be a good place to check because of these articles were used within their paper, so they might be helpful to you. So that's one other little of getting all the way down here to the bottom and taking a look at the references page. Again, helps you get a little bit farther in your. So if I go back to the result list here, one other little trick that I like in the system here is the little folder option here. So I click on any of these icons over on the side. What's going to happen is I'm going to be able to get into my folder up here at the top of the page. There's 2 ways you can use this folder. One is kind of session-based. So as soon as I close this window, since I'm not logged into EBSCO, this folder is going to empty. These articles will be gone. But you could also save them while you're doing your research and then kind of come up and pull which ones you want and print them and things like that. It's kind of a nice little save feature. Create an account and log in, and then you can save, create folders and lots of things like that. So you can see your research if you did research at home and then went to campus or to a library or to a house, wherever, and wanted to still access them. If you had an account created specific with EBSCO, you could do that. So to you, but one option for managing all of your research. It does help to have a place to keep your research purely because I can tell you I did it a lot when I was in school, but it helps so much to keep articles that you're going to use. If you don't, you will inevitably forget to cite something or do your citations at the end and have to re-find an article that you use, which is never fun. So one little hint is to keep track of your articles in some way. If that's a folder within EBSCO or a folder on your computer, it doesn't matter, but I will recommend keeping track of your articles in some way. I'm going to show you another database quickly here and how the differences are. So we took a look right here at Academic Search Complete. Second one that's really general, so it's going to have a lot of topics and many topics, is the one ProQuest that I just clicked on. And it's different for you here. Functions very similarly, just is by the same vendor that we have, and so that's why it'll look a little bit different. So I'm going to go back to that. Okay. Anything on the topic, one database or the other might be better for you. At this point, I'm going to do that first line again. We're going to have, let's see, wow, 125,000 articles. So this one has a little bit more in it related to this topic. And it's a little bit different, but in the same way. So if you wanted to have things that are scholarly, and what I mean by scholarly is of in between that peer-reviewed and kind of things like The Economist, things that have been created by organizations, things that are going to be what they mean by scholarly generally. You can always click on that up at the top. If you wanted something that's a little bit more advanced than a newspaper or magazine article, but not necessarily so technical as some of the peer-reviewed stuff, we could click on scholarly journals over here. Get what they bring back here. Texas Law Review, or here we go, yeah, the Journal of American History. Maybe it's not necessarily a peer-reviewed article, but it is very quality, very authoritative information. Okay, vital speeches of the day, things like that. You know, things that are a little bit different in text than articles. I only put that one line search information in there. I'm going to actually go back and modify my search right here, and it's going to allow me to add the different rows. So I used my OR right here. I also have it default in default in on the second line here. I don't know why they set it up like this, but this is how they decided to set it up. So we'll do reduces or TERS down here, and we'll put crime or on the side here. And same thing, we'll take a look at the number of results. We'll have less than the 525,000 this time. Yeah, we lost quite a few. Seeing that that's the second level of that we added to the search. Does anybody have any questions on searching the databases, kind of coming up with keywords, anything like that that I can help out with before we move on to the last information? Talked about actually at this point. Any questions on anything I've talked about? Okay, I'm going to move back here, back to our articles and databases page. I just want to show you a few more things on here. We have on the, faster. If you click on the Search Help and Tutorials page, what I want to do is show you again what we have called the craft test. What we have on here is a way to kind of remember how to evaluate what you are using. So if you are searching Google or even within the databases, this helps a lot with thinking about how current something is, if it's relevant to your topic. Basically, using the craft test is something you'd want to kind of integrate into your thinking about information. And yeah, Tracy, I see your question, and I will talk about ebooks again in just a minute. Take a look. If you can remember, CRAP stands for C-R-A-P, so currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Currency is going to talk about how timely is it. Is it published in 200 years ago, or was it published very recently? And that's just in the, if it's new, that would be more useful, but that's not always the case. If you're looking at something in a historical context, you might need something that's a little bit older. So you kind of just want to think about how old something is. Relevance, how important is this for your information needs? So who is it written for? To sell something? Was it written to inform you? Basically, why was this written? Talking about who wrote it. So was it sponsored by some governmental organization, or was it sponsored by a political group that has a reason to explain one way, you know, to kind of sway your opinion one way or the other? Kind of who wrote it and why did they write it? Accuracy. Is it truthful? Can you kind of verify some of that information in other places? Things like that. One here on accuracy is kind of typo spelling, grammar, formatting, things like that? Does it look and feel like something that would be high quality information? And finally, the purpose. This kind of goes back in with authority to me, but why did somebody write it? Again, to teach, to sell, to entertain, to persuade, to convince you of something. Really just kind of start thinking about the it was written and by who, the reasons and who wrote it and when it was written. Really will get you a long way in your evaluating. So this is always be right here located on their Chalpin tutorials, and then just the CRAP test. You can also Google CRAP test. It's a frequent thing. So if you want to refer back to this, this will really help if you're using Google for statistics or data or things like that. See Tracy's question about ebooks. There are two ways, again, to get to the ebooks. The first one was through this system here, and this is our library. We call it Library Links. This is right from the home page. So arapahoe.edu/library. And then I'll go back with my death penalty search. And what you can do is you can click down here onto ebooks. And this is going to accept for ebooks out, so it'll leave only ebooks. And if you click on View Now, this will be one place that you can get into them here. And depending on what your you can either do a PDF full text. I don't think that's not gonna download for you, but you could download the ebook and have it offline. This will require you to create an EBSCO. So when I was talking about the folders, this is an account. If you ever created an account with EBSCO, that would be, you could use that to sign in. Unfortunately, it's nothing tied to my ACC or D2L. It's completely off our platform, so there's no way to tie those in. But you can from here. We do have another platform as well, and let's see if it pops up. EBSCO. I'll show you back here. Into same thing, articles and databases is kind of your portal to most of our content here. And from here, you could click on ebooks. This is the EBSCO collection here, and eBrary is another collection that we have. Search directly in as well. So you could either search through what we call library links or through the collections specifically. Let's do a little bit different look. Unfortunately, everything looks a little bit different, but they all function very similar to each. Kind of getting comfortable with the platform, and then from there moving on. So what we could do is you can download it from here, and it's going to give you some options after you sign in as well. It'll kind of explain the process for downloading the ebook. And the EBSCO I'll show you quickly here, but EBSCO is going to look exactly like what you'd expect since this is the same platform as Academic Search Complete. It's going to look very similar to that. Again, it'll books instead of any articles and things like that. So, okay. Do you have any questions about finding anything specifically or a topic that you're looking at on your paper? I don't know if you have topics already yet, but if anybody has any questions, I can stick around, or you can, this is basically the end of the information piece here. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, great evening, and thank you for coming. I will put my email address in the chat. If at all, please email me. It doesn't call me. However, my number is ready. We can talk it over the phone. You can email me, and we can talk over email. We can set up chats. Again, basically, my job is to help support you in your research. So let me know what I can do to help you. So I, of course, used these topics before. So if you end up hitting a brick wall with your research, don't spend hours getting frustrated. Let me know, or let another librarian know, because our is to make it easier for you, and we don't want you kind of going around in circles and getting really frustrated. That's not, it shouldn't be that hard. It could be trying different terms, or it could be just adapting your topic. Sometimes there's not necessarily articles about things that, it's very, very rare, but sometimes someone will pick a topic that sounds very, very interesting, but there's nothing published really yet. So every once in a while that'll happen. So let us know, if you're getting frustrated, try for maybe half hour or so, but then let one of us try to help you and get a fresh set of eyes looking at your topic. Well, so much, and please let me know if you have any questions. If not, again, have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, I had a question.
Perfect.
Probably one of some. But where's the best place to find the peer-reviewed articles?
Absolutely. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I was reading Kyle's chat here. Yes, great. Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm glad that this was helpful. Let me know. But we're into, I'll do the peer-reviewed articles again. So if we go to right here, okay, actually that's going to be confusing. What I'll show you how to get into it from our page here. So if you do articles and databases, and then scroll down to, for this class, I would recommend one of these databases, Academic Search Complete or ProQuest, either one. They just kind of have their strengths in different places. And then if we do, or of course your term as well, there's a few places that you could do that. You can click right here, Scholarly Peer Reviewed, and it's down to the peers, and we can see that here by this academic journal icon. Or you remembered to, which I rarely do, I almost always do it from that page there, you can do scholarly peer-reviewed journals on this page as well. Income inequality, and then we'll get it'll be already checked. So that is one, that's the place. And the same thing with ProQuest. It's at the top of the page instead, and I can show you where that is. But generally, there's always a check button, box, with the databases. It's going to allow you to eliminate is not peer reviewed. So in this case here, it's going to the academic journal option. If we go into ProQuest, a little bit different. Well, okay. You could do it right here, peer-reviewed, or it's the same box here is going to appear at the top of the results page, and you could have done it after you did your search as well. So either way, you can basically just check on this box and do your search. The nice thing about within ProQuest related to peer-reviewed article is once I'm now in here into the article results page, before I click on the full text, if I click right here on the title of the journal, it gives me a lot of information about the journal, and you can always double check here to peer-reviewed. So it's a little extra step if you are comfortable, don't want to trust the limiting options, you can always click of the journal and then see if it's peer-reviewed there. The question, is that enough on listener?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm sorry to make you go over that again.
No problem.
This has a question. I had a question on the topic that I'm thinking about doing. I don't know if it's going to be too widespread. I was thinking about doing a topic on the long-term effects of music on young children, really into like moral values.
Okay. Music. I'm just taking it here. Okay.
Especially regarding to like hip hop culture, where lyrics are about me and sex and drugs and how that affects children that listen to it.
Okay, starting with typing some words here, and I heard you say a few things: music, hip hop, lyrics. Those are kind of the things that all being related to that one concept. My second concept would be children, and then the third one, would be effects. So let's see here. I can add like okay, and so I know how this database works. So if you didn't remember, you could do modify search, but I'm gonna or child or youth. So I'm also including some extra ones there. I also might want to include the word development. That feels like that kind of might fit in there. Let's see here. At this point, what I'm doing is I'm just skimming the article titles and anything. And stop me if I skip something that looks good to you. Okay, so this looks interesting to me. I don't know if is this too old? Looking more younger?
I hadn't really narrowed it down at all, so that's anything's fine.
Okay, so yeah, this one would be interesting to me on that topic. Here we go. Youth. I'd be interested in that one. Implication. So this might have something, and you might want to tweak it a little bit, but you can always put in some additional. I'm going to chat that to you if you want to copy and paste it.
I just wrote it down. Thank you.
Perfect.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay, good. So then, and you can always add, if you want to change to like high school or adolescence, that's another word that could be in there. Let's see. I don't know if it's okay. Yeah, those probably. I would probably use that, and I would also take that string and just type it into academic, and then go from there and kind of see what the difference is, because the databases are different. There's going to be a little bit of overlap, but there is going to be unique articles in both. So yeah. Anybody else have a topic that they want to take a look at? We can do one-on-ones or by email. However, if you're just kind of trying to wrap your mind around what you want your topic to be, no rush. I don't want to put you on the spot at all. Hidden effect, perfect. Okay. I modify search so we can see how this will look. So let's go. General hidden effects. I'll try hidden. Let's see. So I don't know how well it's doing with e-cigarettes. I'm thinking this is one I'm going to go and take and put into the other. I like to kind of try both, see which one works, especially if I'm not getting results in one. I'll definitely go and try. still like the word hidden. Talking about health effects, that might be an alternative. Are there any specific effects that you're thinking of about e-cigarettes? Anything I want to see about or kind of looked at as healthier than regular cigarettes? Is that kind of the idea? Yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm seeing that electronic cigarettes, I'd kind of forgotten that's another term for those. So, electronic cigarettes as well with my OR. Yeah, okay, perfect. So that included a few more that we were missing the first time around. Pattern use, health effects, smoking, and cessation of regulatory issues. That looks good. This could be here, electronic cigarette usage. I mean, this is among students and stuff, but that could be kind of interesting looking at the comparison. This is from April 2015. Maybe I'll on here too. Okay. This is up to the top, so I feel like maybe there's something helpful in here. Health aspects. Maybe health effects. We'll put those together. A few by kind of putting those terms together. So that's why it's important. You know, if you can see here, before I had these connected by OR and we were getting hundreds, I think like 100 results. By taking out the OR and using the idea of health effects, we're down to 33. So unfortunately, these systems aren't as easy to use as Google, which on one side makes it easier to search when you understand how the words, how to search them, but at the beginning can make it a little bit frustrating in your results there. Yeah, here's what like a hidden effect. I wouldn't have thought about that as an obvious. A fresh tobacco harm reduction. So this might be saying, maybe the saying that they are a little healthier. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm going to make it bigger for you guys. I mean, this is potentially talking about that side of e-cigarettes, so something that could be interesting to use depending on your argument and how you want to use that. Would consider adding another database. So I'm going to go up here to choose databases. Advanced because you don't necessarily know what CINAHL is. CINAHL is a nursing database. So this might have a little bit of the health side in it. So now actually I'm going to just take off this one since we've already looked at those results. It's just what they have. Okay, so however, yeah. And same thing, I might take electronic cigarettes back into ProQuest. So do that and see, since we were just using e-cigarettes. Let's take. I can modify since we have too many. Oh my God. could be interested in. Serious health concerns with electronic cigarettes. This one looks pretty good. Cigarettes, that one looks good to me. Okay. Cells, yeah. Right. Same thing. I think I'd probably stick in ProQuest. I mean, you could try both of them for sure, but it looks like there's a lot more in I get talking about using them to quit and how it's sort of effective. Can they kill us? So I think there's quite a bit, and I just take a little bit of digging, just as there's a lot out there on e-cigarettes health. Yeah, so we have 6,000, and we haven't even done a whole lot of expand limiting and things like that. So does that answer at all? Or put her, you might have a little bit of success, hopefully. And if you dig through those articles and there's not anything in there, we can spend more time as well on that one too. Are there any other requests or anything? Is there anything else I can do? Any other?
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. If everyone maybe is doing okay, have a great evening. Good. I'm very glad that it was helpful.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening, and thank you so much. And I'll send the one tomorrow, and hopefully I hear from you guys if you have any trouble. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good evening also.
Thank you.